John and Gordy in the morning show, and a big welcome to everybody and the light dusting of snow that we have.
Yeah, a little bit slippery out there, but it's just, like you say, just a little coating, just enough to make it a little dicey on some of the roads.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. It's 11 degrees. It's a cold start.
It is.
And we're going to get snow tomorrow, maybe 5 to 6 inches tomorrow.
Don't say that.
I'm saying it right now.
You're saying it, man.
I just said it.
Yeah, right to my face.
Right to your face, my friend. Yeah, it's going to be cloudy all day long. Let's check out the afternoon high temperature today. What do you say we hit the jackpot on the one-armed bandit?
I like that.
All right. Let's see what the first number might be. 0, 1, 9. 19.
Pay it
hit
out.
The jackpot. 19 for a high.
That's fantastic.
Bundle up. Bundle up. It's still winter.
It is.
Yeah, snow tomorrow. So, yeah, get your skis out, get the snowmobile going, get the snow thrower. Be sure to check your windshield wipers, the whole bit.
You never know. Somebody might think this is actually something they could use that snowmobile.
The snowmobile?
Yeah.
When was the last time you were on a snowmobile?
It was a long time ago. Yeah.
It's got to be at least 20 years for me.
Yeah. It was kind of fun.
Yeah.
But, it seems like a lot of work for nothing.
Well, a lot of people enjoyed, up north where they have some snow.
Yeah.
They, go on the snowmobile trails, have a couple of pops along the way.
Yes.
Oh,
definitely.
Look out for those fences.
Yeah. You don't like those fences.
No.
Nope.
Look out for those low-hanging tree branches.
Yeah, those are bad too. That's what I always thought was kind of stupid about snowmobiling. If you don't know the terrain, and you're running through the forest, and you might think, "Oh, I'll take a shortcut here. Looks like nice deep snow." Bad decision. And some people have actually died.
Oh, sure.
Snowmobiling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That happens quite frequently.
Same thing with the ATVs. I'm not for the ATVs or snowmobiles, so that's me. That's where I stand on that issue.
You just don't like to have fun, John.
I don't.
Well, ATVs, I understand it if you're on a farm and you want to get around the farm. Mm-hmm. I can understand them as a utility vehicle.
At least they don't have 3 wheels anymore, John.
Yes, yeah. But the ATVs, they look like they're going to tip over at any moment. Just just parked, they look like they could fall over.
What do you mean? They're like
they don't have a wide wheelbase.
Yeah.
a
Well,
wide enough wheelbase.
It's just you sitting on them. It's not like it's a whole car.
Well, but still, if you take a corner very sharp.
Yeah.
And, there are no corners exactly out.
Plus, they're noisy.
Field,
they're noisy and annoying.
Yeah,
that's what I hear from people live out in the country that don't like them. A lot of people do like them, but, they're noisy.
All right, I'm going to come right out and say it. I know we're sitting here and we're just kind of bantering back and forth. We're trying not to talk about Trump's attempt to bring back plastic straws. I know, we've been holding back here. We're talking about snowmobiles and stuff like that, but really we're upset that the plastic straws are coming back. That he is attacking us now. For going to paper straws, something biodegradable.
Right.
What are the sea turtles to do?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is just in your face.
It is.
And it's not in our face. It's, sea life's face. We certainly don't want plastic around. Well, even in our brains, we've got plastic rolling around. Why do we want to put more plastic out there?
I don't know.
I know that Trump's not going to be around that much longer, but, he doesn't have to at least poison, Generation Alpha and Generation Z and millennials.
It's just part of retribution, the retribution campaign.
Yes, getting even.
Just getting even.
Yeah.
And not worrying about the climate. In fact, just in your face with the climate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring back plastic straws.
Right.
Sure.
And this other thing that I think we're going to mention later on is the Voice of America.
Oh, boy.
They're going after the Voice of America. They would just want to, everything that we have done in the past has to be killed, destroyed, blown up, whatever. Elon doesn't like anything this country has done. Why have we put him in charge of doing all of this dissembling?
Well, we didn't put him in charge. Trump put them in charge.
That's true. And the problem here is that they're accusing Voice of America for being left.
Yeah.
And that's why they want to get rid of it. Now, big picture, I'm a big picture guy, and I see the forest for the trees, okay?
Right.
And what I'm looking at here is a party, a mega party, trying to do away with the left.
Right.
I mean, if you come right out and say, well, it's leftist, then that means you're trying to silence the left. And that would be censorship, government censorship. And these guys want to censor an entire, well, I don't know, population, half the population in this damn country, if we want to just get to the bottom line.
Right.
So what in the hell is going on? We've got to look at the big picture sometimes. And when they accuse programs of being left and the Voice of America being a leftist body.
Organization.
Yeah, to just, promote propaganda from the left. They're trying to silence the left. That's the bottom line. It's pretty simple, but we just ignore that part of it.
Well, they're trying to silence democracy, too.
Yeah.
It is the voice of democracy. It's,
exactly.
What we're
all across
about,
the world.
or what we were all about, anyway.
They act like no one's listening to it anymore.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Do you listen to it, Sam?
No, but I was just reading on the Wikipedia page. It's primarily targeted at non-Americans. It broadcasts in dozens of languages and reaches like hundreds of millions of people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, there's one thing they can't stop, John, and that's the National Day calendar. Thank goodness we
Boy,
still have freedom
boy,
in this country.
Oh, thank you for
Freedom-
bringing us all up.
Let's see, what day is it today? Is it not National Guitar Day?
Mm-hmm.
Is it not National Safety Internet U.S. Day?
What?
Safer Internet Day U.S. is what I meant to say. Is it or is it not National Inventors Day? Is it National Peppermint Patty Day? National Construction Workers Day? Or National Shut-In Visitation Day? Which one of those days? Oh, there's a couple more. National Don't Cry Over Spilled Milk Day. And National Make a Friend Day. Which one does not belong?
God,
I know there's a lot to choose from.
That was quite
You want me to
the
run it
list.
through again?
No. Wow. I don't think so.
No, what day is it?
It's not National Donut Day.
That was not on the list, so you got a buzzer. Sam, do you recall any of these days?
The last one, Make a Friend Day. It's not that.
It is Make a Friend Day.
Oh, no.
It's not National Construction Workers Day. That might be some other day, but it's not today. So, National Make a Friend Day is today. Make a friend.
Yeah.
What's that all about? It's got a nice picture of a dog and a cat there.
That kind of friend?
Yeah. It's a fantastic opportunity to meet someone, make a new friendship, friends. It doesn't say about anything about dogs or cats. Why would they put a picture like that up there? Don't understand it. How to observe National Make a Friend Day. Make a friend at work or at school, in the community, or just about anywhere. Yeah. Introduce one friend to another. Give a shout out to a friend who makes your life better. If you're listening to the John and Gordy show right now, tell a friend about it, right?
That'll make their life a lot better.
Right. Invite someone you'd like to know better out for coffee or tea. Let's have a tea.
No.
Share your tips on how to make friends on National Friend Day.
That's very nice.
Sam, have you made any friends lately?
No.
Okay. Thank you for playing our game.
We work in radio. We don't make friends.
Yeah, that's right.
It's National Guitar Day. Why would they have a day just for guitars?
I don't know.
Well, each year on February 11th, National Guitar Day strikes a chord with music lovers. See what they did there? The musical day honors one of the most iconic and versatile instruments in the world, the guitar. Guitar goes back 4,000 years. Jeez, those are old guitars. They got to get tuned up a little more often. 6 ways to celebrate National Guitar. Play your guitar. Learn to play the guitar. Attend a live show with a guitar. Connect with fellow guitar players. Share your music. Appreciate guitar legend. Okay. We all love the guitar.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
National Internet Day.
Yep.
What's that about? Safer internet. Well, that's out the window, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, Elon's taken over, so How safe is it? Yeah, it occurred to me, we're really in a cyber war right now with ourselves, with Elon. I mean, Elon's taken over.
Yep, he is.
Right? He's getting all the connections.
Boy, yeah, just look at his picture. Every
Yeah.
time I see the picture of Elon,
Yeah.
I just think Nazi.
Yeah.
I do. It just looks like that. Like the caricature.
Well, you can't judge a book by its cover, John.
No,
I mean, he
you
could
really
be a
can't.
very nice guy in person. He's
He has an
probably
unusual way to wave at people. That's all.
Hey!
That's all.
Okay. It's National Inventors Day, National Peppermint Patty Day, National Shut-In Visitation Day, and National Don't Cry Over Spilled Milk Day. What is that about? Okay. Promotes a positive attitude even when things are not going your way.
Yeah.
We run into that occasionally. It's a day for looking on the bright side of things and carrying that feeling with you every day after. So do that. Sam, anything in the history books?
Anything that stands out for you today?
We got quite a slew of things.
Are you going to open up the internet book, or are you going to open up the real book?
The internet book. I like that one.
We're running low on time here,
Okay.
so
All right.
we'll.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Are we?
Move on.
All right.
Sorry, I was just trying to get things going for the music
Okay.
here.
All right.
One thing in the history book before we head out here. Today in 1809, Robert Fulton, he's issued a patent for a steamboat, the very first commercially successful steamboat, that is. Ran passengers on the Hudson River for quite a few years.
That's great stuff, but
Steamboats.
how do you make the materials to create that steam engine? Right? I mean,
Metal.
who do you send your designs to that create? Well, it's
the
hard
very
to start
first one?
something new. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know.
All right.
Robert Fulton.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's more.
Hey, we've got more right around the corner on John and Gordy in the morning.
going to sing 92.7. I didn't want to do that, though. WMBX, John and Gordy in the morning.
This portion of the John and Gordy Morning Show is brought to you by our friends at Verlo Mattress. Sleep better, dream bigger on a handcrafted Verlo mattress. You can go to their location on Madison's east side or their west side locations, or go to verlo.com. Ask about their lifetime comfort guarantee.
All right.
Phone lines are open, 608-879-8255.
Yeah.
That's 879-TALK. You can also text us on the Civic Media app. It's free to download. And you can text us right from the app or call us from the Civic Media app. What do we have, John?
Well, we do have a few texts here from Matt in Middleton as our screen rolls by.
Just as you went to it.
There we go. Matt
away.
says, everything for MAGA is the culture war and owning the libs because they're grifters and no solution to their problems. And that is true. You know, everything they're doing right now is not a solution to a problem. It's just something that they've always wanted to do. And it doesn't make any sense, of course, bringing back plastic straws. Well, my goodness, I hope so. Look over here while we rob you of your future and give you measles. Yes.
Thank you to Matt from Middleton for that.
And he also mentions that we've already lost economically to China. China. And now let's scroll down further. Martin Verona. Go ahead.
He mentioned because the Gulf of Mexico has apparently been renamed to the Gulf of America.
Right.
Disappointed in Google and Yahoo Maps displaying the Gulf of America on their maps. Is it official? What are the best alternatives to these mega engines?
WTF.
How do they officially do that? I mean, rename a body of water that's international, right? I mean,
see, now this is where you want to go back to the paper. Historical.
Yeah, use a paper map. I mean, it's probably like there's multiple places in the world that have different names for like political reasons by different groups. So I'm sure it's something like that. Google probably has had to deal with that before. This is just another stupid example of that happening.
Well, thank you, Martin.
Thanks, Sam.
Yeah,
for that analysis.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Well.
Anything else in the history books before we
There's a whole bunch
it?
of stuff, isn't there?
There is, yeah. Today in 1878, what was the last time you guys rode a bicycle?
It's been a long time. Yes.
Last spring.
Gordy, you want me to fix up your bike. It's still broken, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It's been broken for years.
It's been.
So how did you manage to get on a bike recently?
It's an e-bike, but the e portion of the bike is broken, not the rest of the bike. So I can still ride it as a regular bike.
Okay. All right.
It's just a little heavier. I want to get rid of the back wheel because the motor burned out.
Well, you kind of need two wheels on a
exactly.
bicycle.
So we need to get rid of that hub. You promised me you could do it, Sam.
I didn't promise anything.
Yes,
but
you did.
I'll try my best.
Is that what you're going to
Gordy.
do? Is you're going to get rid of the hub in the
Well,
wheel?
he's either going to get rid of the hub.
Find a replacement wheel for Gordy.
That's
Yeah.
right, a replacement
Anyway, the
wheel.
reason I mentioned bicycles, today in 1878, the Boston Bicycle Club was formed, the very first cycling club in the United States.
Nice.
John, when was the last time you were on a bike?
Very, very long time ago. My kid lassoed my wife and I into riding bicycles to his elementary school.
Your kid has a lasso?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's a cowboy.
He's a cowboy.
And for some reason, we went along with that. So we bought all these bicycles for the entire family, and we rode with him in the morning, at 7 a.m.
Yeah. Nice.
And it was ridiculous, And then after a while, maybe after about a year of doing this, he abandoned the bicycle, and that was it. Now we never go on the bike. So I just, I don't like it.
No?
In fact, I even bought a bike carrier for the vehicle.
Yeah.
And we used it once. We went out to the boardwalk out in Monona. And it was, I'm sorry, in McFarland. They put out a new trail out there into the lake. And we went out there, and that was kind of fun. And that was the very last time.
Wow.
And then I sold the bike rack. This is really weird. These people that like bicycles, what's wrong with that?
Why?
I sold the bike rack. I actually had 2 bike racks, and got one for Christmas. And we never opened the box, and I sold it online. And somebody came over to pick it up, and they were very skeptical of the bike. The bike rack, it's in the box. box. I never opened the box. And he said, are you sure you didn't open this box? Well, seriously. It's one of those very, very good bike racks.
So did you open the box?
Never did. I said, I didn't open the box. He says, well, are you sure? And he's looking at it. He's trying to figure out whether I had sealed the box up for him to make it look like we never had it out of the box.
Did he end up buying it?
What an ass.
Okay. Well, did he buy it?
Yes, he did buy it,
There
but
you go.
eventually, I mean, he took it out of the damn box and everything. I'm sitting there.
He
what are
took
you
it
do?
out of the
He
box.
took it out of the box, Mr.
He didn't
Ownership
trust you.
guy. Yeah. Well, it just another negative.
Okay. Got a couple of minutes here. Let's go to the
Oh,
phones.
do we?
Matt is on the line this morning with a question or a comment. Matt, go ahead.
Morning, guys.
Hi.
Hey, I wanted to talk about quick why I think a lot of these MAGA voters are cheering on this dismantling of federal jobs and the public sector.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's always been this weird animosity between people in the private versus the public sectors because, in the public sector, you usually have a union, you have pension, you have the work-life balance, you have a little more rights, maybe you're paid fairly. And the private sector people that don't get all that stuff, they can't stand that. So they're like, instead of helping themselves achieve those things and be better off, they want to just dismantle and take away from other people the things they wish they had. You know?
That's it.
And I think that's
exactly
just a very sinister, kind of ugly part of American life, honestly.
It really is, and now it's the way of life. We have a president like that.
That's a good
Who
point.
thinks like that.
Yeah. Matt, thanks for the comment. By the way, Matt, before we let you go, are you listening to Civic Media on your app or regular radio or car radio?
I listen on the radio during the day with my job. I work at the post office, so I'm one of those public sector people that is treated fairly decent, but we'll see how long that lasts under the Orange Messiah. But in the morning, right now, your show, I do it on the app through my phone.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
that's
good
fantastic.
to know. Just kind of curious. All right.
All right.
It is.
Keep up the good work.
Yep,
all right.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Matt. 6:29, coming back with Idiocracy right around the corner on John and Gordy in the morning.
As the 21st century began, human evolution was at a turning point, a dumbing down. With no natural predators to thin the herd, it began to simply reward those who reproduced the most and left the intelligent to become an endangered species.
Now listen, Grapehead. I'll explain it so even you can understand it.
You calling me a liar?
I ain't calling you a truther.
Idiocracy.
For the smartest guy in the world, you're pretty dumb sometimes.
Yep. Well, we've got a lot of dumb stuff this time around, too.
We'll get to it in just a moment after I make this special announcement, John.
Oh, gee. Okay.
David J. Frank is bringing you this portion of the John and Gordy Show, your turnkey one-stop landscaping resource celebrating 65 years in business. They offer ultimate satisfaction. They're here to deliver exactly what you need for your lawn care, flower care, trimming, shaping, pruning. David J. Frank, they're the largest landscape contractor in southeast Wisconsin. They have branches in Madison, Milwaukee, Kenosha, and you can find out all the information you need to know by going to their website, which is just davidjfrank.com. They have residential services and commercial services as well. Sam, do you have a question about David
What do you
J.
think?
Frank?
What do you think the J stands for? What's David's middle name?
I'm not sure what that would be. Next time we have the horticultural report, I'm not going to guess.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But we'll ask.
I'm asking the important questions,
I
Gordy.
know, yeah. You've got them all.
You're right there.
Yep.
Again, davidjfrank.com. Maybe if you peruse their website, you'll find out more. Okay.
All right. We've got a text here from
Idiocracy.
Doug. Music news, United States heavy metal bands Metallica, Slayer, and Megadeth are supporting Trump's tariffs.
They are.
On metal. So...
on metal. So they're good with the tariffs. They don't want other metal bands coming in.
Going to protect them.
That's good.
That's always good news. Thank you, Doug.
Thanks, Doug, for
noticing that. Let's get into the kangaroo courts. This is a little depressing. A government worker reports that fresh-faced 19, 20, and 21-year-olds from Doge are running 15-minute kangaroo courts to decide if federal employees keep their jobs or not.
Are they really?
Yes.
Where do they get the kangaroos?
Bureaucracy just turned into an episode of Shark Tank, but with interns holding the gavel at this point. So we have somebody actually telling their story. Let's listen to this.
I was nervous and reticent to come up here and speak just for retaliation purposes. I just wanted to share some things that are going on at my agency. In the last week, we had Elon Musk in our building, and after he visited the building, called for a 50% cut of the entire agency. My colleagues are getting 15-minute one-on-one check-ins with 19, 20, and 21-year-old college graduates asking to justify their existence. Supervisors are being told not to tell their staff anything, withhold information. And today we got word that supervisors must now fill out a justification form, and that there's going to be just a 30% rank and yank with all staff in my agency. And to top it all off, one of Musk's top lieutenants and his wife and young child have shacked up on the 6th floor of our agency, and they're living there. The hallway's been blocked off with a special access list for people who can't get back there. Queer and trans folks of my agency are being doxxed in public.
Yeah, they're being doxxed. Okay.
Wow.
So, they're getting doxxed in public and everything. It's an amazing thing in these kangaroo courts. 15 minutes.
A little difficult to hear everything there. Who was getting shacked up in the what was that all about?
Yeah.
I didn't quite understand that. Sam, can you enlighten us?
Some guy with a relation to Musk. I missed how he's related to Doge or what.
But they're shacking up and they're staying in the building.
Family are living in the government building.
Yeah, they're living right in the building. So,
okay.
And of course, what he said. 15 minutes to justify their existence.
Right. That's it.
Wow. That's a little on the scary side.
A little interrogation.
Yes.
They have a light bulb swinging over their heads and sitting there in a chair sweating.
It's an
My
empty
God.
room where this guy was speaking to this other guy, explaining what they're doing. It's frightening stuff.
It
and,
is.
It isn't what we know government to be like. I mean, we do have rules and regulations of government. It protects all this private information, and for them, it doesn't impress them in the least.
No.
It's actually information they don't have access to until they're given permission. So anyway, let's get into something a little bit, hey, we got another story rolling in here, right?
Is the teletype machine jammed? Or is
I think it is.
Wait.
Oh, there it is. There's the alarm on the old teletype machine that we've had here in the back of the room. Oh,
here it comes rolling in.
Okay,
there it is.
Finally.
There it is.
Had to change the ribbon on it and, get a new roll of paper. There's so much news coming across.
It does happen a lot. Israeli hostage releases are now in jeopardy because Hamas says the U.S. guarantees for the ceasefire are no longer in place, citing Trump's displacement plan. Wow. Now, he came right out and said exactly what he wanted. This is cut 65.
I think there's a good chance. Yeah,
How many people are you thinking about?
All of them. I mean, we're talking about probably 1,000,007 people, 1,000,007, maybe 1,000,008. But I think all of them. I think they'll be resettled in areas where they can live a beautiful life and not be worried about dying every day.
Yes. Irresponsible words have real-world consequences, right, Donald? Huh? King Donald? Oh, man. And now the fragile deal that Biden painstakingly helped broker a hostage release is in jeopardy because of it. There's a headline at CNN that says Trump says all hell is going to break out if Hamas doesn't release the hostages by Saturday at noon. Yeah, there's a lot of trouble now in that deal because of Mr. Big Mouth. Okay. Wow.
Well, he's drawing a pretty definitive line in the sand there. Saturday at noon, huh?
Yeah.
That's it.
All hell's going to break loose. What would that be?
I don't know.
He's not supposed to tip his hand. Remember in the old days, with Biden as president?
Yeah.
Well, that Biden, he's always telling everybody what he's going to do next. Well, now we have another president doing just that. Yeah. All right. Now, speaking of stupidity and loudmouths, yes. I have a story about Michael Gableman. I didn't get to this in the last week, but I had to bring it up only because of the descriptions that people gave of Mike Gableman.
Okay.
So instead of me criticizing Mike Gableman, we have a few other people involved. Former Wisconsin Supreme Court Justice Michael Gableman. It's hard to even imagine that he was on the Supreme Court at one time.
But he's retired now?
Yeah. Okay. Who is fighting to keep his law license after regulators filed a complaint related to his work leading a discredited review of the 2020 election. Remember this big review that they put in place, and it was a disaster. Of course, he acted like some kind of street MAGA. Just complaints, wildly ridiculous claims of fraud, and none of it was true. So here it is. A few people made comment about Michael Gableman's talents and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And, Michael Gableman put out a endorsement for Brad Schimmel.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. So Brad Schimmel is really proud of this endorsement by a former Supreme Court Justice, Michael Gableman, who doesn't really have a lot of, friends at this point, you might say. Robin Vos, the assembly leader who hired Gableman to lead the review of the 2020 election, calls former state Supreme Court Justice an embarrassment to all lawyers. Okay,
wow.
This is a guy who sat on the bench and should be disbarred for going off the rails. Another
Who said
endorsement
this?
of some sort.
Vos?
Robin Vos.
Robin Vos
said that.
That's not exactly thumbs up on that.
Oh, he didn't stop there. He said, I certainly hope Michael Gableman loses his law license. Okay, that's another one. And he said, I hope he goes back to work at Home Depot where he was working prior to working for us.
Well, Home Depot is a pretty nice place to work.
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
You got to know something about, home repairs and stuff like that. So he's got something to offer.
Exactly.
But he's not good at doing investigations into into election matters.
Okay.
So. But I just love the comments. Robin Voss actually did say at one time that it was the worst decision he's ever made as a politician.
Wow. He's made a lot of bad decisions.
And again,
that's the worst.
He's made a lot. You're right. But it's just an amazing thing that Michael Gableman sat on the Supreme Court bench at one time. Yeah. Like, he could have been reelected or elected, for that matter. I think he was put on there. All right, now.
You got another story?
Yes.
Wait a minute.
I think the teletype machine it's coming across the... There it is.
This is working really well.
Oh, yes. Well, billionaires, they need a little help. Government subsidies. And with Trump in charge, they're expecting that.
Oh, thank goodness. I was worried about him,
Billionaire CEO Bernard Arnault is also hoping to leverage his friendship with Trump in order to garner favorable treatment. He owns France's largest fashion conglomerate, Renault.
What do you... First of all, what's his last name?
Renault.
That's his name?
Yeah, you don't pronounce half the letters.
French.
You just kind of swallow. Yeah, I know. He has Louis Vuitton, other designer labels and stuff like that.
Okay.
Now, this is a crazy thing. I mean, this guy's a billionaire, right?
Sure.
He wants to avoid higher taxes in Europe, so he's thinking about coming to the U.S. Now, let's listen to cut number 8. This is an amazing thing. He expects to have subsidies from the government if he comes here. Listen.
Okay.
French luxury giant LVMH has started the year on an optimistic note, posting a 1% rise in fourth quarter sales, equaling a total of 23.9 billion euros, a sign that the luxury sector may be recovering from a recent downturn. LVMH CEO Bernard Arnault is turning his attention to the United States, where the French conglomerate employs more than 40,000 people.
I just came back from the United States, as you know, and I saw a wave of optimism there. Coming back to France after a few days in the US, it's like a cold shower.
Arnault attended U.S. President Donald Trump's inauguration last week alongside other billionaires. Arnault and Trump have had a relationship for decades.
Bernard, I want to thank you for the incredible job you do. You're one of the truly great business people.
Arnault said he is considering bulking up production in the United States. France's richest man has expressed frustration about his home country's bureaucracy and recent plans to further tax larger companies to plug a hole in the state budget. Arnault said U.S.-based factories benefit from attractive tax conditions that will improve under Trump, praising government subsidies for workshops in certain states.
Now, can you believe that?
Seriously,
no, they made $88 billion in 2024. He is looking forward to coming to the U.S., working with Trump so he could get government subsidies for his factories in this country. Yeah. They've got factories here. He wants to build more factories, bigger factories, and get those government subsidies. This is a billionaire who made billions of dollars, wants our taxpayer dollars to help him.
Well, he's friendly with Trump now, and Trump gave him a big endorsement there. He likes him. Sure, he's going to come back, get some more money.
I think I like the story only because it's Bernard Arnault. That was France 24, the network that I'm glued to.
You're getting that on your satellite dish, aren't you?
I do love this network. Okay. Again, they interpret the foreign languages. These other networks do not do that.
They translate it.
You have to read the scroll at the bottom, and you can't do that on the radio. So that's why I like France 24. If you have a chance, check them out sometime, folks.
Okay.
I'm pushing them, I think they're going to start paying me for this.
Okay. So you've endorsed them. That's great. Okay. Coming up in our next hour, we're going to talk to Alisa Toninato. And she's going to tell us all about this pouring your heart out iron casting art get-together thing, right?
Yes.
And also Judy Davidoff will let us know what's happening in the Isthmus.
Bad news about research grants coming up.
Oh, boy. Right around the corner on John and Gordy in the Morning.
92.7 WMDX.
Do you have a science story, man?
I do.
Okay.
Yes. We're going to talk about research being threatened at the universities all across the country.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, this is not a good idea. Anyone want to save $4 billion a year so we can cut science out of our curriculum, out of our colleges? The colleges were given all of this research because the overhead is low. I mean, these are universities, that have these setups, to do experimentation, to do all of this research, instead of handing it to private industry, which, by the way, doesn't find any of this very profitable. I mean, they can do all this research if they wanted to, but if it ends up being a dead end, then they've wasted a lot of money. So they've given it to the universities to do all of the research for them, and then they, of course, advance whatever they have come up with to improve the product and then market the product.
Right.
So the universities are pivotal in medical research and other sources of research as well. But DOGE has reduced the research grants to universities. Now, all of this freeze that they have on has not been alleviated. They have not removed the freeze.
Right.
The judges are not happy about it. It's a big story next hour, by the way. Last year, $8 or $9 billion of the $35 billion that the National Institute of Health granted for research was used for administrative overhead, what is known as indirect costs. Today, the NIH lowered the maximum indirect costs. DOGE did in research, and they lowered it down to 15% because normally this indirect cost averages around 60% of the money that the NIH gets.
Wow.
So the problem here is you have to have the facilities. You have all of this equipment. You have the people who are coming in to help out on all of this stuff. You need this overhead, this indirect cost, or else you can't perform the job. UW Buyer had this reaction on Facebook: "No words. This will shut medical research down at many large institutions, including University of Wisconsin-Madison. The aftershocks will hurt not only those hoping for life-saving treatments, but the entire state's economy depends on this." Another posted a response on Facebook: "Wait, what? NIH is slashing indirect costs to 15%. Many universities and medical centers currently operate with 50 to 70% indirect rates, which cover essential infrastructure, lab space, grant administration, IT, and compliance. A 15% cap means institutions will have to absorb massive costs, making NIH-funded research financially unsustainable for many universities." So,
and there's like 21 states that have joined in on that lawsuit.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
About the NIH slashing the funds.
Yep.
Or the DOGE folks.
So, what
the
Trump
freeze on
said was this is his intention. He's always intended for everything that the public does to send it to the private sector to make a profit. But he doesn't understand that the private sector doesn't want to have anything to do with this. They don't want to have a lot of studies that go nowhere. They want the colleges to do all that work for them.
Yes.
It doesn't cost anything because of low overhead at the universities. And again, they need at least some of this money, the indirect costs, to just have the labs and the people.
Right. Let's go to the phones. Joe is on the line with a comment this morning. Good morning, Joe. Go ahead.
Well, as we continue the stupidity that, after all, this is your idiocracy segment, I just wanted to also draw to people's attention. There's a great blog called Lawyers, Guns, and Money, and they have a title for the tariffs, the reciprocal tariffs that Donald Trump is looking at. And their title is Reciprocal Tariffs and Donald Trump's Bottomless Stupidity. Now, this had never occurred to me, but he's apparently going to be announcing these reciprocal tariffs this week, as well as this new blanket tariff on steel and aluminum. And this person who works in customs brokering and in this industry says, "Oh my God, this is probably the stupidest thing I've ever seen, ever." And because he's never read something called a tariff schedule, which is each each customs jurisdiction now, the U.S. is going to have to get their hands on their tariff schedule and then parse out what exactly they're going to be charging for tariffs. There are 130 different jurisdiction schedules. Do you see a problem? I kind of do.
I do.
And they're saying, that some countries, for example, don't charge the same tariffs. They're talking about how you have to look at the manufacturer of each particular item to see how much aluminum, where did it come from, how much steel, where did it come from, how much water is in some of these things that's put together. And they said if you combine that with the manufacturing system that many places have now, which is this just-in-time manufacturing. So you don't keep stuff around. You have just what you need so you can zip in there. You're not paying for storage. They said our ports are going to grind to a halt. And if our ports grind to a halt, then manufacturing grinds to a halt. And they said, this guy, he just doesn't have a clue. There's a reason why people don't start trade wars. There's a reason why we don't do this anymore. Exactly. So at any rate, just wanted to throw that into the mix. If people want more information, they can check out that particular entry. But it was fascinating as to how complex it is. And of course, President Stupid doesn't have a clue. Just get it done.
Right,
People
exactly.
Get it done.
Yep, he's got an idea, tariffs, raise the tariffs, that's it. And it's to, of course, raise money for his big tax cuts coming up. That's why he's doing all of this.
Yeah. Joe, thank you for your comment.
Yeah, thanks for the details on it. Appreciate it.
Yep. Coming up again, Alisa Toninato will be here about the Pouring Your Heart Out iron casting art. That's coming up in our next hour, as well as Judy Davidoff from Isthmus will join us.
Can't wait.
We'll be back with more of John and Gordy in mere moments.
We'll be right back to the action right after this message.
Gordy in the morning. As we were saying, let the sun shine. It's the John and Gordy Show.
The opinions that you may hear us express, expressly or otherwise, over the public's airways, is in no way to represent the opinions expressed or otherwise by our management, producers, sponsors, or various members of their staffs or their families or few friends.
Nor should these views express the opinions of the broadcasters, the disc jockeys, the salesmen, the program and music directors, and their secretaries and girlfriends and wives and their staff.
Unless, of course, we are willing to assume that we can assume the responsibility that their opinions will not influence anyone else's opinions.
Or their family and friends.
And staff.
92.7 WMDX. John and Gordy in the morning. And the sidewalk sweepers were out this morning.
Yes,
in force. They were lined up down the street.
Yeah. Down on State Street.
There's a bunch of people with brooms.
Yeah, well, these big brush machines that they have,
right,
do such a fantastic job, don't they?
Yeah, they have two of them lined up, going right down the street.
It's a great dusting experience.
It is. There's barely any snow out there, but they're just getting warmed up for tomorrow. I think tomorrow we're expecting maybe 5 inches, 6 inches of snow, and right now it's 11 degrees. A high today about 19. We'll see mainly clouds this morning, a little bit of sunshine later. This portion of the John and Gordy Morning Show brought to you by Verlo Mattress. Sleep better, dream bigger on a handcrafted Verlo mattress. Check them out on Madison's east side or Madison's west side, or go to Verlo.com. Be sure to go in there and ask them about their lifetime comfort guarantee, and tell them you want to hear Maddie the mattress on the John and Gordy Show.
Well, I hope so. One of these days.
Do we even know if Maddie talks?
Well, we're going to find out, I guess.
I have a feeling it's going to be one of our best interviews yet.
Yeah. We can't wait. Can't wait. Got to line that up.
Well, there's a lot of things I can't wait for, and that is a return to the plastic straw. I'm really looking forward to having those back again. It's just like what?
Well,
that's what you mainly get anyway.
The one good thing
now.
about this is that you can make a little kazoo noisemaker sort of thing.
Yes, you can. Yeah. The whole thing here, this is like when they complain about pigtail light bulbs, the fluorescent light bulbs.
Right.
They really wanted to keep those, or they were just adamant about keeping their big gulp sodas. They really wanted they wanted the freedom to buy their big gulps or the pigtails, and they just want to hold on to all these things that no one even thinks about anymore. And now we're going to have the plastic straws returned because no one's thinking about it. No one cares.
Nobody is aware of the climate change or believes in it.
Yeah.
In the administration, apparently.
And it goes without saying that manufacturers have moved on from the plastic straws.
A lot of them have, yeah.
Yeah. The market has kind of moved forward a little bit, and this guy wants to go back. Our orange president wants to go back to plastic straws just because.
Yeah.
That's about it. Well, we've got a constitutional problem, as you know. I got to tell you, last night I was going through all of this show prep.
Yeah.
And I got so depressed, absolutely so depressed.
Really?
I just, I stacked all the paper together. I piled it up on the table, and I walked over to the chair, and I just fell asleep.
Really?
I didn't send any material to Sam, which I normally do each and every night.
Well, why didn't you?
I just couldn't handle it anymore. My brain shut down.
Well, usually when that happens, you call me up and start.
That's true.
You
are.
I kind of act as your psychologist and
you are a light at the end of that dark tunnel.
Tell you, come on, John, buck up, buddy. You can do it, pal.
You've always been like that. You've been there for me, Gordy. But this time, I didn't even have a chance to call you.
Couldn't find your phone again.
I had to shut the brain down.
Really? Were you in the fetal position on the floor?
Not quite. I didn't even make it that far.
You didn't make it. Okay.
So anyway.
Well, that's so sad.
Well, the thing that really depressed me more than anything is this comment from conservative attorney George Conway.
Oh, yeah.
He was on Morning Joe, and they had like 8 guests. Right. And George started it off, which isn't a great way to start it off.
Well, I heard the same kind of comments.
You did. It stood out, right?
Yes, it did. It's very depressing because it's very real. This stuff is real. Not just making it up anymore.
I mean, it has to do with Trump and JD saying that judges shouldn't have anything to do with second-guessing the president, right?
Mm-hmm.
They shouldn't have anything to do with it. They shouldn't be able to put on hold all these freezes that they've put out there. They've actually literally stopped government cold. There's nothing left. And we got a story about the farmers in just a moment, but I want to get to this George Conway comment about the Constitution. This is rather depressing, and you might want to curl up in the fetal position too after listening to this. This is cut 67.
Okay, here we go.
J.D. Vance is an embarrassment to the law school that I attended. But the fact of the matter is he's telling us something that we should have already known. And last week I said it. They are not going to obey court orders. They have decided that they are going to push the boundaries on executive power by basically infringing on the Article 1 power of Congress. And they are violating they're violating the Constitution, the text of the Constitution in the birthright citizenship issue. They are violating the text of statutes by having DOJ run around and do all the things that have been doing these executive orders. There's no reason that this government that has decided not to obey the laws and the Constitution of the United States is going to obey a court order. And as you know, Joe, having practiced law, there's really only one way that courts can enforce their orders when somebody is being contumacious and refusing to obey an order. And that's to send the U.S. Marshals out to take somebody in and to hold them in contempt or to otherwise enforce court orders. Well, who does the U.S. Marshal Service work for? The U.S. Marshal Service is part of the United States Department of Justice. It reports to Donald J. Trump. And what's going to happen here, mark my words, is that at some point, they are going to basically tell the United States Marshal Service, do not enforce any of these orders. We will not obey them, and you are not to enforce them. And once that happens, I hope it doesn't happen, but I know in my heart that it will. Our 236-year experiment in the federal rule of law, in democratic self-governance for the United States of America, in American constitutionalism, is essentially over.
That's
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's that.
All right. Now, this is because they don't want to follow the rule of law. That's why they have done what they have done. Just blow up the system, sent Ilan out there to do all the dirty work so Congress doesn't get the blame. They don't have to make a decision on closing down these major administrative buildings that help make government run smoothly. They could do all of this cutting, all of this research if they wanted to, while these bodies, these administrative bodies, were still operating. They don't have to shut them down. They don't have to stop the flow of money. But they've decided to do that, and the judge says you can't do it. It's illegal.
Right.
And so the administration is saying, well, we don't like to follow the law anymore.
Yeah, multiple judges have
absolutely
declared this, not just
judges.
one judge.
That's right.
All the judges are saying the same thing.
Right.
But they're just going to ignore that.
And JD and Trump say that the judges shouldn't have this kind of power. But Mika Brzezinski had a list of Biden executive orders that were blocked by federal judges. Oh, my gosh, it happened to Biden, but it can't happen to Trump? Well, let's listen to cut 68 here, this long list.
President Biden signed 162 executive orders during his term in office, several of which were also blocked by federal judges. One of his first orders created a 100-day deportation ban, but that was suspended by a judge in Texas who claimed the order could cause the state imminent and irreparable harm.
That can't
6
happen.
months later, a federal judge in Louisiana granted a preliminary injunction against the Biden administration's suspension of new oil and gas leases on federal land.
That's outrageous.
Biden's vaccine mandate for federal contractors was blocked by a U.S. district judge in Georgia.
What?
In 2022, a Louisiana judge stopped the Biden administration from lifting Title 42, a public health order aimed at stopping the spread of communicable diseases. But with was used to expel migrants at the southern border.
That's crazy.
The judge ruled the order violated administrative law.
These judges.
2 months later, President Biden was told he could not enforce his executive order protecting the LGBTQ community from discrimination in schools and the workplace. Then, in August of 2022, a Texas court ruled against the White House's requirement for hospitals to provide emergency abortions regardless of a state's ban on the procedure.
All right, I think you're getting the idea here. She just went on and on about things, executive orders that were put on hold were basically blocked by the courts by these judges that now, for some reason, shouldn't be able to block the president. What he wants to do in executive orders.
Yeah.
How could this be? Does Trump not know that all of this happened to Biden? I don't get this, okay? And attorney Matt Elias Schwartz wondered just what these justices are going to think about this when the Supreme Court gets a hold of all this stuff. Cut 69.
I will say that we saw with Trump v. USA that the court does show a lot of deference to executive power. This court in particular, I think if I had to guess, it's a total guess, President Trump would probably get this court to overturn some big precedents. We saw their willingness to do this with Dobbs, but he would not get everything he wanted. And I think there's a bigger question here. If he received a judicial order from Chief Justice John Roberts calling one of his White House's actions unconstitutional, would he obey that order? Because when I read J.D. Vance's tweet yesterday, Vice President Vance's tweet yesterday, saying that only the executive has the authority, only the judges aren't allowed to control the executive's legitimate power, that seems to hint at the possibility that he might not. And that would be a far graver and more dangerous scenario to our constitutional order than simply the Supreme Court overturning some big precedents expanding executive power, which itself in normal times would be a very big deal. But there's an even larger, a worry looming on the horizon, and it's in that tweet.
All right, so executive orders, you can't question what the president does as an official act. So there is that hanging out there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have Dick on the line, but Dick, we'll get to your call in just a minute. And we want to remind you we'll also be talking to Alisa Toninato about the iron casting art thing, Pouring Your Heart Out.
Yes.
Coming. She's going to be in the studio with us here in just a little while. Stay with us on John and Gordy in the Morning. With us. Yes.
All right. She's recovered from the injury she received here on our lakes.
Did you come down or no?
No, because we got a foot of snowfall on Saturday. So it was
yeah.
terrible.
Oh, should have taken
well,
your
I
snowmobile.
went to it. It was a lot of fun, but I was looking around for you, and I didn't have,
He spent all afternoon
all day, all afternoon. I stayed overnight on the ice,
wandering aimlessly.
Did you get in the thing?
Where's Brittany? Where is she? Did she fall down? Did she get hurt?
I know we did it. We put a search party out there.
Okay. So snow tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll keep this a little shorter today.
Sounds good.
If we could. Thank you.
15 seconds.
All right.
WMDX, John and Gordy in the morning. And it's time once again for Brittany Merlot.
Yes, let's find out what's going on with the weather. Good morning, Brittany.
We called off the search parties. We thought we lost you on the lake over the last weekend.
Yeah, over the Frozen Assets Festival. I was there looking around for you. I couldn't find you.
We sent out a lot of people. I just called them, though.
Messages.
They thought maybe perhaps they'd find you today. And we did. You're right there.
You didn't.
I got stuck. I got
you
stuck
got
in
stuck?
Wausau with a foot of snowfall, so
Yeah,
I didn't
right.
make my way down there on Saturday. It wasn't the safest option, but
No.
I was pretty bummed. How was it?
You really
It was
were
a lot of
excited.
fun.
Yeah.
It was really a lot of fun.
You really missed.
Yeah.
I know.
No.
It was a good time.
No,
there were lots of
really
kites there.
happened.
There were ice skating demonstrations.
There were only kites.
There were lots of kites, and there were they're big kites. Let's get to the weather. There's more snow coming,
Yeah,
right?
there's more snow, right?
We have a little dusting overnight, but there's
Yeah.
a lot more snow coming tomorrow around here, right?
Absolutely. Yep. You got that cold front that moved through, brought a few flurries. A few more of those could fly around this morning. No accumulations from that. Highs in the 20s today, but then we've got light snow pushing in by tomorrow morning, and it's going to continue throughout the entire day into the evening, and it'll pitter patter out overnight. But we are looking at a good 2 to 4 inches into the Madison area. We could see another 1 or 2 inches into the evening hours before it leaves. So that was going to put our storm totals anywhere from 3 to 6 inches of snowfall through tomorrow. And it's going to be highs in the low 20s. So, John, this is going to be a light, fluffy type of snow. You could just
Excellent.
get the leaf blower out.
There you go. I love it. Thank you for keeping me in mind in there.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
yeah.
But we'll blow around and drift around a little bit, becoming annoying at night. But overall, a little dose of snowfall. It'll clear on out of here for Thursday, but Thursday will be sunny and cold, breezy.
All right.
And then Friday, Saturday, they're talking about some more snow, right?
We are, yep. That moves in through a good chunk of Friday and a little bit of Saturday morning. Most of the weekend will be dry, but we are looking at another couple of inches of there too as well. That track is shifting, but definitely you're going to get it tomorrow.
Okay.
All right.
Well, Brittany, thanks for the update.
You're
We
welcome.
appreciate
You
it.
guys- You guys have
We'll
a great
talk to you
day.
tomorrow.
It's good to see that you're well and you didn't get lost somewhere on the lake.
No,
Appreciate
no.
it. All right.
All right.
Take
Thank
care.
you. That's Brittany Merlot, our civic media meteorologist. Let's go to the phones. Dick has been holding on here for a while.
Yeah.
Good morning, Dick. Go ahead with your comment.
Well, that George Conway thing is just as serious as it was yesterday, the first time I heard it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
the last thing he did say was the next move is we have to get in the streets over this.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically referred to it as a bloodless coup at this point, and it's a constitutional crisis. But,
Yeah.
another day at the office
Yeah.
with this guy. I mean, they're going to blow through everything.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's stunning. It really is, and that's why I shut down last night.
I have too. I went to local stuff a little bit more.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when do you have Paul Soglin on again?
Yes.
Well, yeah, the
It's gonna be
voice
next week.
Our joyful voice
Oh.
in the morning.
Yeah.
I have to ask him something about the use of the street department.
Mm.
You were talking about the snow removal. Yesterday morning on John Nolan Drive, they had a big dump truck, another small truck with lights on it, and guys in the median strip, dust flying everywhere. They were weed whacking.
Really?
Well,
I took pictures.
Well, they finally got to that.
Wait a minute, you took pictures?
They've been trying to do that all summer long.
They had that all cut down last fall. They were out there with this stubble that's barely there, and they were created a dust storm on John Nolan Drive there, right? About 9:30 yesterday morning.
Well, it's nice to know it's done finally.
Sam, what day of the week next week is Paul Soglin?
He's coming on Monday.
Okay, so Dick, call us on Monday to remind us to ask Paul that question.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys.
that's great
All
stuff.
right.
Thanks.
Thank you. By the way, the National Day of Protest is set for President's Day, February 17th. That's next Monday at noon. You were invited to the White House or your state capitol right down the street from where we are broadcasting, or go to your city hall, town hall. It's to resist fascism. I can say that. Fascism. National Day of Protest. President's Day, February 17th.
Do we have time for a clip that you have?
I'm not sure. The farmers clip. Do we have that? Okay, this is Andrea Mitchell. We've been talking about USAID and the money backing up because they can't release it now because nobody works there anymore.
Exactly.
And they pretty much shut it down. Well, it's already affecting farmers. Here's a little report on that.
Tonight, stacks of boxes in a warehouse in Savannah, Georgia.
We've got about 300,000 pallets or cases in the building.
Not yet shipped out after USAID's stop work order 2 weeks ago.
I think right now we have about 300,000 boxes of our ETF. So a box will feed a child. It's 150 sachets, and it'll feed a child for 6 weeks, roughly, through the food aid system. So that's a lot of kids stacked up in that warehouse.
Why is it so important?
Yeah, so children that are in that condition of severely acutely malnourished, they need the vital micronutrients and the calories and the fats and the lipids poured into them. And you could do that with like a traditional infant formula, but you can imagine if you're a mom in Ethiopia or in a place where you don't have access to clean or fresh water or refrigeration, if you were to use some sort of standard formula like that, then it would go bad.
President Trump's order freezing most USAID programs was a shock to people running nonprofits like Mark Moore, to his factory workers, and potentially devastating to the families who depend on their food, says the former head of USAID.
With 1 in 4 kids under 5 in Sudan suffering from severe acute malnutrition, there is American food in warehouses that is just sitting there because of the stop work order and because of the fact that these programs have effectively been halted.
Many American farmers are also crying foul. Peanut farmers in Georgia and soybean and wheat growers in Kansas, because USAID spends $2 billion a year buying their surplus crops to feed the world.
We have farm commodities grown by American farmers that are sitting in American ports right now with flagged vessels, U.S. flagged vessels that are ready to take to the seas, and they can't take that food, and it will just sit in American ports until there is a reckoning with the grave damage that these decisions are causing.
So shutting it down causes us to just have to, pull the plug and wait until we know that the U.S. government is going to take the product that we're making.
A delay in the supply chain that has real consequences for starving children who need the food right away.
That's right. 41% of farm products goes to feed the world hungry.
Yeah, and those contracts are not being fulfilled, and farmers are not getting their money.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
Crazy.
When we come back, we'll talk to Alisa Toninato. There we go. The Pouring Your Heart Out Iron Casting Art Festival coming up.
John Gordy Show.
have access to this.
Okay, get the mic nice and close.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay.
Are you good?
Give us
I
your
think
name.
so.
Can you hear?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can hear you guys.
Can you hear okay?
Fantastic. Okay, you
Is
want
it too loud?
You want it louder or?
No, no, that's plenty loud. This is good. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, I have no idea how
No,
to do that. Though.
If you really want to hear my voice, you can turn it way, way up. Just kidding. Okay, which one is that? Is that?
This portion of the show is being brought to you by Ed's House of Excuses. The next time you need a good excuse for being late to work or forgetting your spouse's birthday, just call the House of Excuses. We guarantee that we'll come up with a good excuse for you on the spot. Our guarantee is simple. If we don't come up with a good excuse for you, we promise to give you a good excuse for not coming up with one.
Sounds like it makes some kind of sense. This is John and Gordy in the morning. WMDX, a couple of texts here. Mark out in Prairie du Sex says, hey guys, what did they do before plastic straws? He thinks, weren't they paper back in the 60s?
Yes, of course they were.
I think so.
I remember that,
yeah.
Don't you?
You know, this administration does want to kind of go back to the 50s and 60s. That would be paper straws. Oh, well, anyway, you can't make sense out of that. And Doug says the truth is supposed to be funny, but George Conway's statement is downright scary.
Well, it is.
It was scary for everybody that heard that. Dad Gordy had the same impression I did, and I brought the cut in. He brought in the cut.
Yeah,
we both did.
Frightened by his words. But, yeah, anyway.
Something on a more uplifting note, Alisa Toninato is with us this morning.
Yeah,
Good morning,
Alyssa. Good morning, guys. Thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for coming in. Tell us about the big event that you have coming up this Saturday.
Yeah. Pour your heart out here.
Pour your heart out. This is our 16th annual public community iron pour event. It's where we make molds. We have all these workshops leading up to it where community members can come in and make a mold. We guide them through those things, and then everybody's pieces get cast on Saturday. So a live metal casting event. There's over 45 artists from across the region coming into Madison to help crew the, the iron pour with us. So everyone from St. Louis to Detroit, Minneapolis, Chicago, Minnesota, everybody in the region kind of coming in and helping. So it's a really spectacular event,
And these are artists that are coming in, and what kind of art are they making out of iron?
Yeah, so most of the community-made pieces are what we call a relief sculpture. So they did a one of two workshops where they make one-sided sculpture, and so it's like a high relief. They design their own piece, whether in clay or they dig directly into a sand mold. And so a lot of these are like one-sided, very kind of entry level Foundry 101 sort of things, but they're incredible designs. Really, truly, there's people that make astonishing pieces out of these, very, very basic kind of limiting, medium with that. But it's incredible what people make.
I know it is really, people do ice sculptures, and it blows your mind, right? What they can do with that stuff.
I know.
Now they're doing it with these clay molds and making indentations into sand molds as well.
Yep. Everything is sand. And, it's funny. Our friends will, from out of town, they're coming in and they get to see all these molds that have been made in the last month. And they're always like, gosh, like Madison has a bunch of closet artists. Like, they're just like, these are just incredible pieces, people that are not professional artists. They're just coming in as accountants or nurses or, they're in administration. It doesn't matter, they just have this, a chance and ability to kind of bust out and do something totally different.
Is there somebody there to help them out just in case they get kind of stuck? They're not sure. what to do.
What are we doing here? Those workshops are totally meant for just inspire, like explaining kind of the guidelines, the rules, what they're what they're going to achieve, and examples with that. And then I'm there to kind of push them past what they think they can do, just to, give them a little bit more inspiration and work through some of the strategies of how they're going to achieve some of these ideas. And so we work together. It's usually a 2 to 4 hour workshop that they get a chance to get started. So.
Alyssa, tell us about the vendor market that's going to be going on.
Yeah, this is new. So our friends at Garver Events, we're collaborating with Garver Events, who know how to throw parties. They're amazing. And they have managed. They suggested having a vendor market this year, which it just invites artists to kind of take advantage of this big influx of people coming in for the iron pour, and for them to share their goods, and their wares. But it's a very curated, very small show based in trades. Materials. So any artist that's kind of working in wood, ceramics,
metals,
fibers, metal, and even 3D printed. We've got glass artists. So they're kind of it's less of like scented candles and stickers. It's more of like, hey, I'm making real sculptures. So it's kind of a different type of market than you'd see at Garver, typically. So
well, these iron castings. Tell me about the size of this, because what are we looking at?
What's going on? Yeah, so they're generally between. They start with like kind of a 6 by 6 inch like open area that they can carve into with the sand molds, but you can go a little bit outside of that. And generally, the castings are between 4 and 6 pounds, like when it's all said and done, depending on how deep they go. But they're they're manageable. You can hang them on the wall. They're not going to rip like your drywall down. I mean, they're not like huge, substantial sculptures. But some of the artists coming in from out of town are bringing their molds too. So we have a whole variety of different types of molds that will be on the pour floor, like ceramic shell molds, which is an investment casting with where they start with wax and then they dip a shell and it burns out. Totally different process. And some of those are more substantial, very detailed, legitimate artwork being made in a gravel lot.
Okay, now Alyssa, tell us about the foundry in a box. What's that?
Yeah, this is my favorite. So very popular. It's a micro foundry. It's tin casting. We do it inside. It's designed by the industry to teach Foundry 101 to students. So we've had kids as young as elementary school do this activity. It takes about an hour, but what it is we have these like tiny little sand molds. People can take a part of their mold. It's called an insert, and they're made by 3D printed sand. Actually, it's industry is doing this regularly, but we're showing people that this is a thing. They can scratch out a little design, then they pack a little sand mold around it, and it's the size of like a switch plate, like on a door, like a gang box, basically an electrical box, and then they learn like kind of the process of 2-part sand molding, and so then they can take apart their whole mold and then put it back together and cast it in tin.
Wow.
Yeah, so they get a little keychain. It's not about the keychain though. It's about the process.
Is there? I got to ask you though. Is there a castings of body parts?
John, what are you
getting at? John?
What?
Yeah. Just kidding.
What's the matter with you, man?
I mean, smiley faces. We've seen those.
Hands.
Yeah.
A hand or something.
Some of the more.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Some of the more, the professional artists coming in, sometimes they have like they'll actually make like body castings and like more anatomical, like parts. We've seen skulls being made, and we've seen, hands or, just like parts. Sometimes they'll make, with sculpture, you have to make multiple castings and then that gets put together later. So sometimes it's like several little pieces that come together.
Right.
We're talking with Alisa Toninato about the Pouring Your Heart Out iron casting get together. And again, 16 years you've been doing this.
Yeah. This is our Sweet 16 coming of age, man. You got to come.
Looks almost impossible. I think I saw this covered on the news.
Did you?
You have this gigantic hot molten.
Yeah, the furnace.
The
cupola.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's a cupola-style furnace, so it's coke and iron. It's very old school. It runs on air, essentially. It's just the air combusts the coke, fuel, and coke, like the black stuff.
Yeah.
And then it, and we tap about 100 pounds of molten metal at a time. So across the whole event, we're casting about a ton of iron.
Wow.
Usually, so just 2,000 pounds.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, it's pretty great. So we have an opportunity for people to make something the day of the event. I mean, all the workshops are done, but we are opening up a scratch tile tent, it's called. So anybody that's like, oh my gosh, I got to do this, we'll have a chance from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. to come. They can buy the last of the sand molds there. There's only like 40 left, I think. So it's not that many, but if anybody wants to make one, they can purchase a mold, scratch it out, like get that design in before we light the furnace up at 2, and then we're tapping at 4. So other things that are happening, the Foundry in a Box is going to be at 11 to 2 p.m. So there's people that already bought tickets. So there's like, if people want to do it, I say get the tickets so that you get your spot in line, because it takes about an hour to do Foundry in a Box.
Yeah.
And then there's then the vendor market opens at 2, goes to 8, and Garver events have a live music booked afterwards from like 6:30 to 9:30 for the after party. And during the event, I'm super excited to tell you that we got DJ Real Jaguar from WORT, our friends down there, and he's going to be DJing real vinyls on the pour floor.
Cool.
I hope it snows, right? Like, wouldn't it just be fab? I love snow.
It's supposed to snow Friday and Saturday.
Bring it.
Yeah.
I love it.
You're ready for it.
I mean, iron and snow, there's nothing more magical. I really hope. Everyone's like, there's big snow coming. I'm like, sweet. Let's do it. I'm ready for it.
No, that doesn't work for me. But
so people
you can go in the heated tent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can.
So tickets are still available. The VIP tickets.
The VIP tickets in that heated tent where John's going to be.
Yeah, that's right.
So we've got.
How do you get those?
How do you get those? There, if you go to the website, Felion Studios, FELION Studios with an S.com. Look for the event page or the workshops page. They're still open, and that's where you get your VIP tickets. And that's kind of where it's at. This is also a new thing for the event. We've never had like a big, awesome, like kind of elevated experience. You know, everybody just sort of stands outside cold and watching us completely comfortable on the iron floor. But this is going to be a heated tent access during it. There's like a lounge area. We have a branding iron station, which is kind of fun. So people can brand these little wooden coasters, and then we're collaborating with Prettyful Creations, which is a vendor at the vendor market, and she does wood burning classes, so they can brand a wood coaster, go inside, embellish it with some of her stencils and stuff. That's kind of cool. Then we have like these pour your heart out stainless mugs. That is a bottomless mug for beer that they can get at the Garver events. So that's part of the ticket. You can engrave that mug. There's like just little make and take activities. Yeah, they get a free ticket to the Foundry in a Box. And then, of course, just like kind of luxurious access to our pour floor, which brings people closer to the other public, there's no seating, but public standing areas. You'll get closer to the furnace, closer to the back end, kind of get to see the behind the scenes, what's going on with the furnace, and it's production.
No,
it's crazy.
I'm just thinking of other holidays besides Valentine's Day. I'm thinking maybe Halloween. People could make cast iron bats and pumpkins.
Oh, right.
Yes,
Bats.
and all of that stuff.
Yeah,
wouldn't that be?
I mean, this you're right on tempo, because there's people that do these Halloween pours that they like to pour into pumpkins and like real pumpkins, and it's a wild thing to watch because iron is so hot, right? Like, do you guys know how hot?
Tell us, Alisa. Tell us.
We usually cast around 2550, so 2,500.
Oh wow.
50 degrees. So it's the optimal casting temperature for us. We try to hit between that and 2,600 degrees Fahrenheit. And when you pour that into a live pumpkin that's been carved, the thing like rattles in a way that's just possessive. It just looks really creeptacular. It's just the thing just kind of shakes wildly because of the moisture in there.
Yeah, that's awful.
And it
torture.
spits all over the place. It's very Halloween.
Alyssa, how did you get into this? How did you get into iron pouring?
I know. I was born and I was just, I knew. No, just joking.
Yeah.
No, I went to
You're
art school.
inspired, by
Yeah.
the way.
No, I went to the Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design, and was a fine art sculpture student. Had no idea what foundry was, though. I did not anticipate doing metal casting at all. But I had a fabulous adjunct teacher there that just by luck was in iron. It's not a typical like metal for art. It's like usually bronze, aluminum, non-ferrous metals are very art metals. But we had the opportunity in Milwaukee to pour iron right away in my foundry. Like first class, and so I was hooked. I think I love people. So there's a lot of, it requires a whole team of people. Iron is very different than pouring bronze, because it just is a different furnace. It requires more people to manage it. It's much hotter. Just takes more.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's all happening Saturday, right?
Yeah.
At Garver? Let's see.
Garver Feed Mill on the east side of Madison, right next to Olbrich Gardens. So it used to be, this event was for 5 years at Olbrich, and now we've jumped the tracks. We're north.
It's a gorgeous place.
It's fabulous. You guys should really come. It's such a beautiful building. Good people, lots of small businesses.
What time does it open up?
It opens at 10. So, well, actually, farmers market is going to be in the morning there. So the winter farmers market, and you can come at 8.
Very good.
Yeah.
Alyssa, thank you for being with us.
Thank
Alyssa
you guys.
Toninato.
Fabulous to meet you.
Yes.
Thanks for the invite.
Yep.
I loved it.
All right. Have a great event
When he
Saturday.
tried to match
Coming right
the
back.
Ranger with the big iron on his hip, big iron on his hip.
Ninety-two point seven WMDX. John
The
and Gordy
words
on
right
the
out of my
line.
mouth.
Oh, you were going to say
I was
that?
it's my turn.
What's wrong with me?
I don't know. I've been wondering that for decades. It is 7:52. This portion of the John and Gordy Morning Show is brought to you by our friends at David J. Frank, your turnkey one-stop landscaping resource, celebrating 65 years in business as being the largest landscape contractor in this part of Wisconsin. They have branches in Madison, Milwaukee, Kenosha. They take care of everything, residential and commercial lawn care, flower care, trimming, shaping, pruning. They do it all. Go to their website, davidjfrank.com. You can sign up for their free newsletter and find out all about what they're up to. They can do anything related to landscape at davidjfrank.com.
All right, let's go to the phone line. We have Judy on the line right now.
Oh.
Thanks for calling.
It's Judy
we didn't
Davidoff.
Yeah, it's Judy
Oh, it
Davidoff.
is?
Yes.
Oh, well, yes, Judy.
And she's here to remind us what's in the isthmus.
Well, yes, it's been a while here. So what is in the isthmus this month?
Yeah, what should we be looking for?
Yeah.
Got a copy right in front of us.
We have a pretty timely cover story on mental health challenges of kids and teens. And, the governor has declared it the year of the kid and is hoping to get about $300 million, I believe, in the budget passed for mental health services in the schools. We're just seeing a lot of depression and anxiety.
Well, that's it, and that is your cover story. We're looking at it right now. 9% of high school youth identify as straight, reporting having seriously thought about taking their own lives in the last 12 months. 30% of LGBTQ youth and 41% who identify as trans considered suicide during the same period. That's an amazing number. I'm just blown away by this.
Well, what's so amazing is that they've been vilified by politicians. That is outrageous, and that's why Governor Evers has stepped out and called it the Year of the Kids. I mean, it really is an important thing that we have to keep in mind. With child care and everything else, we have to look at this. And it seems like the legislators don't seem to be aware of this problem at all. Judy?
Well, I mean, I don't know if they're aware. What the story shows, and in terms of LGBTQ, there's bullying involved. There's also just feelings of alienation, and that is frankly across the board when kids and people feel not part of a community, alienated. Depression, anxiety rises.
Well, there's a quote here by Jill Pfeiffer, Executive Director of Briar Patch Youth Services. She says, young people today hold awareness of every school shooting, war, and climate disaster. And that, in of itself, is a lot for most of us to kind of absorb. So I that's a great comment.
No, it's true. I mean, I think none of us went to school worrying about a school shooting. Right. And, of course, that's completely different now. That's what kids grow up with.
Well,
and
we worried about a nuclear attack, so we had to get under our desks.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
That's true. That seemed a little bit farther away.
Yes,
maybe
it
more
does.
remote
It does.
than what we see now. Yeah.
But there's an acceptance. There's sexual awareness as well. So there's that kind of problem. The discovery of their adolescence. I think all of this is kind of meshing together. I think a lot of adults are having the wrong impression of what's going on in schools. The kids are more adept to all of this than what the parents think they are able to do. Right?
Yeah.
In a way,
I don't know. I think there's always disconnect, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's some parents that are really involved and are following, and then there are others who, for whatever reason, work, or just that's how their parenting style is not quite as connected. But I do think, these issues weren't there before COVID, but COVID definitely exacerbated all these problems.
That's true.
Judy,
we're learning at home.
Yeah, Judy, you wrote an article in your From the Editor column here about local news in the time of Trump 2.0. That caught my eye. Tell us about this article.
Well, in my column, I always try to focus on issues of journalism and isthmus. And, we were struggling like everybody else, in those first couple of weeks. You had these administrative orders. One day there's a funding freeze, then there's a judge, putting a stay on it. Yeah. And it's just, the question for local organizations, I think, is how do you cover that? I mean, thank goodness there are national groups, covering the inside piece of how, what's happening with the administration and in D.C., but then what's the impact on the local community. And, sometimes people don't know, of course, in those first few days.
That's
and
right. Yeah.
That happened here. And it just, caused us, and I'm sure a lot of other organizations, to think about how to cover an administration like this, at least the local impact, when truly part of it is chaotic and maybe purposefully so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Judy, thanks for giving us the highlights. This month's Isthmus, of course, it comes out the first Thursday of every month, and we'll talk to you again next month and get the preview of that issue. Can you give us a little hint what it's going to be?
Yeah, what are you looking at?
Yeah.
Oh, for March?
Yeah.
Well, we'll have more coverage of the Supreme Court race. A big story on that.
Very
Absolutely.
good. That's Judy Davidoff from Isthmus. Thank you, Judy. And
Thank you so much.
We'll talk to you again soon. That's going to do it for us. And tomorrow we will be talking with Mike McCabe
from Substack.
That's right. Coming up next, Stephanie Miller. That's going to do it for us. Have a great day.
I think it will, probably.
That's enough, isn't it? Let's just leave it here.
Molten iron. I just can't get my head out of that.
Okay.